Boys and girls, children of all ages, non-binaries, and transgenders, this is the Ultra Heelz Wrestling Podcast live from Bravery Studios, Cliff, New Jersey. I am Dark Messiah, the Dark Side Savior, always and forever one is worst behavior. Mr. DM, finding your mom's DMs. Why? Because I'm trying to get my baby, nobody can stop me. Alex D. here will be with us, hopefully momentarily. He is the leader of the Fuck the Revival movement. He is the leader of the Fuck the Vince McMahon movement. He is the man that put your girl in cripple crawl space and leave her right into a crawl space. And the newest addition to the Ultra Heelz roster, the one and only Superstar Sal on the boards.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good evening, sir.
What's going on with
How are you living?
I'm living mighty fine.
Mighty fine. Meanwhile, I'm having all kinds of trouble at work. All the cashiers are dying. It's a nightmare.
I mean, in today's day and age, could we really be saying that's a surprise?
Not particularly, but you know, the fact that it all happened in 1 week, we didn't have any problems for the longest. It was more like people just quarantining because of family members. But then to have so many employees within like 5 days, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, especially where you work in a fairly a lot of employees.
Yeah.
So the chances of somebody catching something is high. Well,
actually, like I'm a sub department, so we're more closed off. It's only like 18 of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, still, it's a lot more than where I work.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just weird that all that many people got sick in that short of time, and meanwhile everybody else is completely fine.
Well, that's usually how that works. You know, it's like it's a sickness. It's basically,
yeah,
you know, it goes from one person to the next, and it affects everybody differently.
As Vince McMahon likes to call it, the ongoing global situation.
It's not a pandemic. It's just a situation.
Yes, a situation. All right, we're gonna kick the night off with what used to be called the Wednesday Night War. AEW and NXT, the ratings this week shocked the hell out of me. I knew both shows would go up being on separate nights, but I didn't know they're going up this much. Let me get the exact numbers here for a second. AEW, they hit their highest rating since the debut. They had 1.21 million. Basically a bad episode of SmackDown.
You know, but you know, I think with them, they get a little more leeway, as they should. They're a new company. So, I mean, I know it's a couple years, and how long can we actually say that? Mm-hmm. But you got to figure they went, you know, they started up 3-4 months before the pandemic. So, but you know what I mean? So I give them a little slack with it just because of how new it is. And then who's, you know, the beginning of the pandemic, I feel it really dropped the quality of wrestling just because nobody was used to not having people there.
Right. One of the things I've always, the whole Wednesday Night War, the thing I've always gone off is total combined views, not just individual, you know, head to head. What is the total combined views? So total combined views, okay, I didn't say NXT. NXT got 805,000. So total combined views, you have slightly over 2 million. What does Raw do? Slightly over 2 million. So you've now completed the entire wrestling, you've got the entire wrestling community watching both shows now.
Think about it. This is like, I don't even think 1995 was this low of ratings, no?
Bingo.
But also, I think it's important to take into account how many different ways there are to watch wrestling these days.
Correct. But however, if you go into the statistics of the drop off of cable television from I'll use 1998 because that's the height of the Attitude Era. And I just knocked my headphones out.
Oh. This is going to go on Botchamania.
Okay, I'm good. All right. There we go. All right. So the height of the Attitude Era, which is 1998, you were getting 10 to 12 million people watching Raw and Nitro every week. The drop off of regular cable television from that time versus now is the ratio's a lot lower than the ratio of wrestling fans from then to now. So right now you have 2 million out of 10 million. That's what? You have 20%. You've lost 80% of your audience.
Yeah, it's
Cable television didn't drop that far. I'd say cable dropped off maybe 35, 40%. I don't remember the exact numbers. I read an article once upon a time.
I'm interested to see. I've never really looked at it, but I've heard people talk about it. I'm interested to see what the numbers would be from like once WWE bought WCW and how much it dropped off from that point.
Okay.
Because then you start to see like the quote unquote lapsed fan that,
right.
You know, you hear so many people talk about. Because I think it's important to remember that you know, wrestling was there were just WCW fans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and where did they go?
Right.
And you know, everybody's like, well, why doesn't AEW have that fan base? It's like, dude,
AEW does have that fan base. That's who's been watching AEW the whole time.
But not even that. But like, how could you? That was 20 years ago. How many people? You know what I mean? How many people really like said, "Oh, I'm not watching wrestling," and then 20 years later, oh, right. AEW is here. Let me go check that out.
Because again, another one of the things I've always said, the majority of the AEW audience. So they were, let's say they averaged 820,000 for the run that they've been on. That's like, to me, that's their average, about 825,000. Out of that 825,000, I'm saying 700,000 is people that were going to watch the people working for AEW, regardless of what company they worked for, regardless of what platform you had to watch it on. Those were the diehard people of those specific superstars. They were going to go find these people and watch them.
That's a good point.
So you then have another 150 to 200,000 people like myself that the only reason I'm watching these people is because they're on AEW and it's now on cable TV. I'm not going out of my way to see these people.
I also think it's important to remember that even though it sounds like 800,000 people, how many people is that in the grand scheme of professional wrestling? It's actually a pretty good rating on the overall landscape of cable television. I think AEW is one of the highest rated things on TNT. The highest.
Again, it's the key demo again. Back to the
18 to 40.
The demo god, Chris Jericho. Within the key demo. They're one of the highest rated things, yes.
I gotta be quite honest with you. I really don't understand how much of that works. It's like
well, first of all, cable ratings TV ratings in general, the whole Nielsen system is totally bullshit. Because it's an estimation. Because it's not every single person's house are they monitoring. They take, I believe the number's like 1 in every 10 homes in America is a Nielsen home. So 10% of the country is a Nielsen home, and they're basing it off of 10% of people. Have you ever met somebody that's a Nielsen home?
I wouldn't even know what to ask them.
Malcolm, do you know a Nielsen home?
I knew one at one point, like right next door. My neighbors had
it.
And yeah, they contributed to the Walking Dead continuation. So
I've never known anybody that's a Nielsen home. So 2/3 of the people here have never known a Nielsen home.
No.
So imagine all the people that we know. You know one, we know none. Also, so where's the logic in who are these people that are contributing to the ratings?
Also, do they take into account DVRing? Because I know for myself, I very rarely am able to watch wrestling live.
Nielsen is only first run of television.
All right, so then there's a whole different.
Yeah, there are modern metrics that take into account DVRing and I guess now streaming because everything has a fucking app.
Yeah.
So that's another way to further watch a product. Because I'm thinking like something simple like the fucking Discovery Channel. They have their own app now. So I never get to watch what's the fucking show? Deadliest Catch. I always watch it on demand.
All right.
And now that they have the app, I can watch it on the go wherever I am.
That's a beautiful thing about streaming, man. That's I was thinking about putting Peacock on my phone, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. But
yeah, I downloaded. I signed up from my phone, so that's why I have it already on my phone. And then I added it to my Xbox so I can watch it on my TV.
Yeah. I just got it on my PlayStation. I almost didn't even do that. The only reason why I did that is because my buddy gave me his account info.
All right. Yeah. So again, I did not expect them to be for both shows to get such a high boost in ratings this week.
I was I kind of expected it, but at the same time, like you said, it's like you can't really call it.
Yeah. For some reason I was I was looking at the article for the ratings on Instagram, and I just scrolled down. Apparently, Cesaro is getting a Universal Championship shot because he's in the ring with Roman right now.
I don't know if it was. I don't remember if I said it here or if I said it to my buddies, but I remember saying I think that's the next logical choice for Roman. I'm not saying Cesaro should beat him. I don't think he should.
No.
However,
as much as I would love to see it.
I mean, I don't know if I would. At least not right now. But again, I think it's a good logic. Who else is there to go against Roman at the moment?
True.
There is nobody right now.
Because another thing, another person I want to see on top is Big E, but it's too soon.
I think he needs to win the Rumble next year.
Uh-huh.
I think Roman should just hold the belt until next year and let him drop it to Big E.
Okay.
That would be my plan. What better way to make a new main eventer than have him beat the most dominant champion you'd had in years if Roman's able to hold it until next year.
Gotcha. Let's see, what other topics can we... Oh, wait. All right, let's get into WrestleMania then. Night one, we had the rain delay.
I loved it.
I skipped through it because I didn't watch it live. I had to watch it Sunday morning, so I missed the rain delay. But from what I hear, it basically most of the stuff we kind of already knew. It shows you who can and cannot cut a promo on demand.
Yes, but at the same time, I liked it because it felt, even Braun Strowman, who was not a good promo.
See, I was going to mention Braun Strowman.
But at least it felt natural.
Okay, I didn't get the same response from my guy at work.
Really, I enjoyed it because while it might not have been great, it felt like it was him speaking. Obviously, it is. He's not reading off a script. And to me, it just made me, again, I'm not a huge Braun Strowman fan. However, I thought that made me care about him a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I mean, I still didn't care about him. However, like, I was a little more invested in him as a personality.
See, the review my buddy at work gave me was, it basically Braun Strowman was yelling things from his most recent promo on Raw. It was just like one quick sentence. I'm gonna kill him. He keeps making fun of me.
I mean, I don't think I've seen that promo, so that might be why I didn't mind it as much.
Okay.
However, I mean, it sounds like it's very possible.
Hold on, let me just text Alex real quick. All right. Now, the night kicked off as we all thought. Well, as we found out Friday night, Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley kicked off the show. Well, actually, even before the show, we had all the superstars come out on stage to acknowledge the crowd. Vince gave a quick little speech. Vince is getting old, man.
He is.
Vince is getting old.
I gotta say though, I thought that thing was actually pretty well done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually not a fan of like, oh, it's all heels and babies come out on the stage, but I think they did decently well. Like, I thought that was a cool little thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I immediately thought about is we just got to see everybody's gear.
Okay, yeah, that's...
Because even, I watch Up, Up, Down now. So Xavier Woods, he was, nervous because he was like, I don't want everybody to see my gear so early because we're not on until, the fourth match. So everybody's going to see my gear before the show even starts.
Yeah, I could see why somebody would be like, especially WrestleMania, everybody's debuting some new gear.
Yep. Like, you could obviously see Lana and Naomi because they're in freaking neon suits.
Yeah, I mean, they could have put pants on, like sweatpants and a t-shirt.
Yeah, like Edge. Well, no, Edge was night two. There was somebody on night one.
Wasn't Edge in his gear, though?
No.
Wasn't? I feel like I remember seeing
Oh, no, you're right. He was in gear, but he was in whatever he wore for the Rumble.
Which is weird, though, to me, because he wasn't working that night.
Well, they were, again, one of the things they always do at WrestleMania, they do scans for 2K.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because I know, I said the same thing. I know it's a bunch of people on night two that were dressed. Hell, Nikki Cross was in gear. She's not even on the show. She wasn't even on the pre-show.
That's a good point.
Nikki Cross was in gear.
I didn't even realize that.
So that immediately was like, oh yeah, they're doing scans for 2K.
You see the video? I mean, that little, I liked it with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. But does the game work? Because the graphics on 20 looked good, but does the game work?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no.
Yeah, it usually doesn't work. All right, so again, Bobby Drew kicked the show off. I want to say it started slow. It almost felt like they didn't know what to do off the bat. But it picked up. Maybe like 3 minutes in, it picked up, and they got the business.
I think that's a good thing, though, especially with two huge guys. You know, the first match in front of fans, and they were going to go a little bit of time. You don't want to just start off hot.
Right.
You know, like build to that. And I think they did a really good job. I was actually surprised. I mean, I'm a fan of both guys.
Right.
But I was pleasantly surprised with actually how much I did enjoy that match. And I'm really happy with the outcome.
Now, the one thing I did notice right away, but I believe the production crew fixed, being that it was only 25,000 people in the stadium, the crowd wasn't loud.
Yeah, they didn't mic up the crowd very
right.
Well.
So again, I'm guessing they noticed it and they gradually turned the crowd mics up. Because I'm like, you get the visual of everybody's excited. This is the first match we get to see after over a year, but it just obviously because there's not a lot of people, it's not going to be as loud. So the production they adjusted properly.
Of course, and I mean I think naturally they were gonna have to go in and pipe in some noise. They knew that because they're in a 80,000 seat building, and you're only able to put 25,000 in there.
But they didn't use the upper deck, so they were more condensed.
Yeah.
So they tried to keep the people together in a safe way.
It's still outside, and the volume's still going to go way up. You know what I mean? There's no way to really, and because you're outside, there's no way to control that. So, I mean, I had a feeling, and a good feeling they were going to pipe in some noise, and they did.
Yeah.
But I didn't. It wasn't as egregious as it usually is.
Right. Now the finishing sequence did get me a little bit because the whole thing where MVP was just jumped up, I was like, hey. From that point, it was like Bobby Lashley started to go for the spear, then he stopped, and then Drew jumped up for the Claymore, and that's when Bobby just hit him with the hurt lock. It seemed like they were a little off pace.
It was definitely a little clunky.
Yeah.
That happens to the best of us. I think what I would have rather seen is MVP at least swing the cane at him. You know, maybe at his feet or something. You know, just something. And don't touch him, obviously, you don't want it to DQ. But
yeah. More than just hey.
Right.
Hey, did you notice commentary was standing in front of the table?
Yes. But was the seats wet? Is that what that was?
I'm guessing. No, because it was still raining hard. So I'm guessing they stood further in from the railing than they normally would.
I mean, they got headsets on. They don't want to get electrocuted.
Oh, Kelvin, I'll get to that. Don't worry. I'm going to get that to Kelvin.
Oh, yes. That was
the highlight of the night.
I completely missed that. I didn't see that till the next day. Like, I knew it happened because my buddies told me I missed it. But
Yeah, so Bobby Lashley finished it off with the hurt lock. He got the win. Surprising win. Like I said last week, I came to terms with the fact that they built Bobby up to lose. As much as I love Bobby Lashley, I came to the terms that they were setting him up to lose, but they gave him the win, and I'm happy about it.
I really liked the finish. I liked the old Bret Hart Stone Cold. You know, when Bret had him or Stone Cold had him in the $1 Million Dream, Bret does that like back roll and gets the pin.
Oh yeah, nice callback. Yes. Yep.
And then he kept him in the full Nelson.
Yep. Yeah, nice callback. I gave this match a 3.75 star.
That's fair. I feel like that's a fair. I think that's fair, and I think. I mean, I would probably put it right around there. I think I enjoyed it.
Right.
You know, could have been better, sure.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot worse too, though.
All right. So next up, we had the women's tag team turmoil match for the -- contender. We had Naomi and Lana starting off against Carmella and Billie Kay. Carmella and Billie Kay both did not have original gear for WrestleMania.
No, it's very much the
Carmella has worn that money gear like 3 different times. She debuted it at the Money in the Bank that she won, and then she reused it at another time.
Wait, so I got a question. This is a question I asked my buddy. Are they reverting back to her old
gimmick? I guess, because what was the point in doing that whole sommelier gimmick with Reginald, who has now also disappeared off of TV?
Yeah,
because he's not with Nia Jax anymore.
No, but they barely gave that Carmella thing like a chance to.
But it wasn't even like it was an original gimmick. It was leftover Emelina stuff, leftover Lana stuff, leftover Liv Morgan stuff, leftover Eva Marie stuff. That gimmick fails every time. They can't nail that gimmick.
I think Maurice did well with it.
Yeah, because she was the first one.
That's a good point. I mean, But I just would have I think one of the reasons why things fail sometimes is because you don't really give it a chance to really take it places. Like, was it 2-3 months they had that? Mm-hmm. It was gone. Like, at the same time though, I mean, it could have never worked. I don't know.
Right.
But they didn't even really give it a chance. They just said, "Oh, you lost. You're done."
Now, there was a spot between Lana and Billie Kay. I don't know what they were doing. Lana went for a roundhouse kick, and she just stopped halfway through. No connection. She just put her foot down, and Billie Kay.
Lana is not great.
No.
I mean, but she's also not a wrestler. I mean, she's probably been training, obviously, but I don't think she got into the business to be a wrestler.
If you saw her Instagram, if you saw Miro's Instagram, he posted a story about how Lana moved to Florida for most of last year to be at the Performance Center to train more.
Okay.
So while he's flying back and forth, going to Jacksonville, he was staying home. And I believe they live in Kentucky or Tennessee or something like that. And she was staying in Orlando to be at the Performance Center from July to November.
I can't imagine. I've never been to Kentucky. But
yeah.
Could you imagine anywhere in the United States you can move and that's where you pick?
Yeah, especially them. They don't seem like Kentucky people.
No, I don't feel like they fit in.
No,
not
at all.
See, going down somewhere in Kentucky and just seeing Rusev and Lana at the local Burger King or something.
Yeah. So yeah, that was that. Next out was Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. First, Dana Brooke busted her ass on the ramp.
No, that was Mandy Rose.
I'm sorry. Yes, Mandy Rose. Yes.
That was tremendous. I popped immediately.
Yes. And I immediately thought about Batista when he fell at 35.
Yeah, similarities. I think this one was funnier to me just because it was on the stage and she came out all badass.
Yeah. And it also made me think about, remember when Batista and Dana Brooke were hooking up for 6 months?
I don't. Wow.
You don't remember that? No. That was right after that WrestleMania. Because Dana Brooke at the time was single.
Oh, that's right, because her husband died or something.
Yeah, that was 4 or 5 years ago. She was single at the time. She hadn't met she met the guy she's dating now through Batista, but that's another story. But anyway, because they were having these weird exchanges on Twitter, and it was oh, hey, daddy, that kind of shit.
Well, they're both muscle freaks, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so they ended up dating for most of that summer, and then they broke up maybe October or something.
Well, I can't imagine it'd be easy. Both of them have hectic schedules.
Yeah, Kelvin confirmed they lived in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right, so that makes a little more sense. Tennessee's probably better than Kentucky.
And then there was the nip slip, the multiple nip slips. There was 3 of them.
I only seen the one, after the fact, but I only knew the one.
Yeah, there was 3. And I went. So again, I watched it Sunday morning. The nip slips were still in there. The first time it happened, they tried to black the screen out. Actually, they tried it twice to black the screen out. But obviously you saw it.
Right.
And there was a third one where it was further away because it was after she got pinned and she was rolling out the ring because she stopped for a second on her back and she was hanging out. And then she rolled all the way out.
Oh, man.
That one they didn't attempt to black out because, again, it was a little further away, but I caught it. When I went back on Tuesday, because I was going to show my girlfriend, they had already edited all of it out.
I'm surprised they didn't edit out the rain delay. Going back to that, but
yeah.
But the match itself, I was really pulling for Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott to win. I'm a fan of both of them.
I had this sneaky suspicion that they were going to give it to Naomi and Lana because of the whole Lana thing with Nia Jax.
That's what I thought too, and then immediately that was nah, we're not doing that.
So
and I
then
love Naomi. Naomi's one of the. She's one of those people that you obviously didn't come into the business as a wrestler, but really adapted well to it.
Yes,
I enjoy watching her.
Yes,
I like that Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose used the old Power and Glory finish, well, their own version of it with the superplex into the Swanton.
Yeah,
the match overall though I thought was horrific.
I wouldn't. Again, minus the Lana Billie Kay interactions, I was pleasantly surprised with this match.
I think it was better than I thought it was going to be, but I think it was still really, really bad.
Nah, see, I actually appreciated this match for a change. I don't know why.
I mean, it was different, but it's just matter. I think it was just. I feel it's too long. But again, how else do you do a turmoil match?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have no choice but to go along in that.
And the winners ended up being Natalya and Tamina.
I didn't hate that. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it.
To me, the fact that they didn't win the next night made me hate it. Because why did you waste the win on the veterans if they weren't going to win?
To get heat and tell a story.
To me, you give the win to Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, the ones that can never get over. Then you have them lose. You know, give them a little shine and then have them lose.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, and I could have seen it both ways given night 2. However, I don't mind it because I think it told the story. It made you like oh yeah, I really, really want to see them win now. Like you said, the 2 veterans, and then oh no, we took it away.
Yeah.
So I don't mind, and it puts more heat on Nia Jax and Shayna, who I'm also tired of seeing as a team.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what effect it put more heat on them, and it's gonna set them up for whatever they're doing next.
Nothing.
Probably.
They're doing nothing. Next, third match, which was match of the weekend. It was Tyler Black and Claudio Castagnoli.
Cesaro and
Seth Rollins, yes.
For people that don't know.
Yeah, it was the Ring of Honor match. Actually, both Ring of Honor matches, both nights were the best match. Because Steen and Generico was also the best match.
I might disagree with you on that second part.
No, I take that back. That was not my highest rated match for the night. Okay. But for suddenly thinking back right now, to me, it was the best match. But go ahead.
I mean, I thought Cesaro and Rollins did a really good job.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen it go a little longer, but at the same
I think that was what was the best about it. It left you wanting more.
Yeah, no, and I think they did it. Listen, I'm a big fan of both guys. I'm happy to see Cesaro finally doing something.
Yes. Big win.
You know, not being in a weird thrown together tag team has been nice for him. I love that UFO.
Yeah, the no hands airplane. Yep. The counters that they did were just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, it's a throwback to what they used to do in ring, and it wasn't even. I would still argue that it was even toned down from a Ring of Honor match. However, they hit they hit that mark.
Yeah. So remember WrestleMania 31, we had the pop-up RKO.
Yes.
We did a pop-up uppercut.
Loved it.
Yep.
I loved it. Everything Cesaro does looks so good. He's so crisp.
Yes, exactly, crisp.
And he lays everything in almost perfectly. His biggest thing has been his personality, let's be honest.
At which he's totally grown since the bar.
He has, 100%. He's still, he's still obviously not, he's never going to be the biggest personality ever.
No.
It's not him. But I think he is, like you said, he's grown. And I could see him at the top of the card, maybe not being the guy, but in that mix.
There also is Seth Rollins with the corkscrew frog splash.
Amazing.
How the hell did he pull in the pump while spinning?
I don't know. He's an athletic freak, much like Cesaro. He could do things that
because I've seen corkscrew splashes before, but I've never seen somebody do the frog splash pump with it.
Never either. I mean, the only thing I would, if I had to, it's just why? Why even do that when you could do a regular one? However, it's WrestleMania. You want to, you want to be fancy. I get it. Yeah.
Because normally in that spot he'd do the Phoenix Splash, but I guess this was for the wow factor.
Yeah, I mean the Phoenix Splash I think looks cooler, but
yeah.
But even that, it's as cool as it looks, it's why? You get the same effect by just jumping off the top and splashing somebody.
Yeah. So I gave this match a 4.5. So again, my highest rated match of the weekend.
All right. Then.
And the next match, I'll just go straight to the rating. I couldn't bring myself to give AJ Styles a lower score, even though I hated this match. I gave it a 3, but I wanted to go lower. But again, I couldn't bring myself to give AJ Styles a lower score.
I didn't hate it at all.
The New Day versus Omos and AJ Styles.
I mean,
the psychology in the match was screwed up.
How so?
The New Days worked heel because they were just beating AJ up for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
So effectively, AJ ended up having to give Omos a hot tag.
Which way? I mean, yes, in the traditional sense, I agree with you. However, how else do you work that? He's the big guy, and they're trying to avoid getting to him, and they're going to do whatever they got to do at all costs.
I think you start with Omos, and AJ's like, no, I'm not coming in. Fight him. I'm not coming in. That's how they play heel. And then you literally just have a squash match. Basically, AJ never even gets in.
I mean, if you could,
or you just tag AJ in for the finish, basically.
You could have went that route, but I think they were trying to get a match for everybody, obviously.
Yeah.
And something that I've learned, in my dealings, is you want to save the biggest points for the end.
Yeah.
And which is, I mean, figuratively and literally, almost is the biggest part of that match, because the whole thing going in was, what is he going to do? What's he capable of?
Which he didn't really show us.
He didn't have to.
Right.
The New Day did a really good job of working around him and working to his strengths, which is just being huge. And that tree slam thing he did was insane.
Oh, what was it, the choke bomb? What did he do?
Basically, the standard big guy finish.
Yeah.
I do like the way the New Day sold for him, though.
Yeah.
And not just how they took bumps for him, but what their facials were when they interacted with him. Like, when he got tagged in, Xavier Woods looked like he knew that something went wrong.
Yeah, like he was scared shitless.
And he should have been, which was perfect. The New Day, they don't get enough credit for like the little things they do like that.
Right.
Because a lot of baby faces want to be like that big badass tough guy. Like, no, I'm going to come at him.
Right.
And they sold him like he should be. Like, no, this guy's imposing.
AJ Styles is now the latest Grand Slam champion.
He's won like every belt almost now, no? Except for the women's stuff?
Cruiserweight, 24/7.
Oh, I mean, do they really count?
No. So he's a 2-time world champion, a 2-time U.S. champion, 1-time Intercontinental, and now a 1-time Raw Tag Team champion.
Who would have thunk that 10 years ago?
Well, 10 years ago, he was a 2-time Impact champion. Excuse me, TNA champion.
Yeah, but did you ever expect him to be in the WWE?
No.
I didn't.
No. So yeah, he's one. I think he's 2-time in Impact. I think it's 2-time with the Legends belt. I think it's 4 times X Division.
The Legends title.
Yeah, I think it's 2-time Legends, 4-time X Division. It's like 6-time tag team and like 7-time world in TNA.
The Legends title. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Because the Legends title was the last one he needed to be the 2-time
Right. Didn't he like
Grand Slam?
What was that Booker T that brought that in, right?
Something like that. I forgot what it was.
He was doing the whole royalty thing, and he didn't beat Samoa Joe, so he's like, "Screw it, I'm gonna make my own belt."
Yeah, something like that. Because that was for me. That was like my dark age of wrestling. Because I got away from wrestling for a while.
Listen, it happens. That happens to everybody.
Kelvin said AJ Styles never won the European Championship.
Man, but D'Lo Brown, the greatest European champion of all time. That's right.
I almost lost my headphones on that one. All right. Okay. Why do we even have this match between Shane and Braun Strowman?
So Shane could get tossed off the cage.
Okay, moving on. Next match.
That's it.
Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus Miz and Morrison.
Listen, this guy, Bad Bunny,
stole
the show that night. In my opinion, I think this was the best match.
Let me be analytical as to why this match was a problem. Okay. Bad Bunny, representing for the Latin community, the Latin wrestling fan, bringing in casual Latin people to watch wrestling. Cool. So let's put all that over here on this side. That's all the positives. You have a celebrity, a 5'6", 140-pound celebrity that's never had a wrestling match. He basically out-wrestled The Miz. Why does that logic?
Well, the logic is in the fact also that they had pretty much put over the fact that he's been training his ass off. So he's learning the craft. And The Miz goes in underestimating him, because why wouldn't you? And he surprises him. I thought it was a really good job by everybody. I enjoyed it. I think Miz and Morrison deserve the most credit because they made this guy look like $1 million. Okay,
again, I agree with that part. He looked like he did his best as an untrained celebrity to come in. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just the logic of the match to me was wrong.
Well, he was trained. That's the thing I was saying. He was trained. He's been trained. They had put over the fact he's been training since whenever. So he'd, at least they, if they wouldn't have mentioned this stuff and he would just like came on off the street essentially, I would be like, yeah, that's a little,
Right.
But because they had told you that he had been training, it kind of like, again, you're right in the sense like you don't want the.
So remember, The Miz was world champion 2 months ago. So your guy that was recently world champion got outsmarted and out wrestled by a celebrity?
He's also a squirmy heel world champion that got lucked into the belt essentially.
Regardless, but he was your world champion. So he was smart enough to get himself to the world championship, even though he's a coward. But he was smart enough to get to the world champion. He wasn't smart enough to beat a celebrity.
No, but he also had Damian Priest on his side. That's a big man.
But that's just the thing. Okay, I get Damian Priest was injured going into the match, and that's why it was almost a singles. But all Damian Priest did was he got the hot tag and the comeback. That was it.
I mean, yeah, that's really all he did.
To me, it should have been Damian Priest shining in the match, not Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny should have been the side attraction. He should have got the hot tag, come in, flurry, bang, 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 bang. Priest get the win.
Sure, but at the same time, how many people are watching WrestleMania to see Damian Priest, as opposed to how many people might have actually tuned in to see Bad Bunny? That man has a huge. I mean, I've heard of him, kinda.
Yeah.
But from everything I hear, he is a huge star.
Again, that's why I'm trying to put who he actually is to the side and just say he's a generic celebrity.
But you really can't, because that's part of the appeal. I understand what you're saying, 100%. And to an extent, I agree. But to put that to the side, then yeah, it's just some generic nobody. However, he is a huge star, so the people, that was what they wanted to see. I didn't mind it. I mean, it's better than a lot of celebrity appearances. Although I will say, I feel like in the last year or so, these celebrity appearances have been
Pat McAfee.
Well, yeah,
Pat McAfee killed it.
So did Shaq.
Yeah.
I feel like these celebrities, they're starting to set a standard. Like, you can't just come in and just be a J-Bro. Like, you know, actually put in some work and learn how to do the deal, and and put on a good match. And I think Bad Bunny showed that he could. And I expect to see more of him down the line in WWE.
Kelvin said William Regal and D'Lo Brown were the rest European champions.
What about Al Snow? He used to come out from a different part of Europe. He used to come out with the gimmicks from each country in Europe. That was great.
Main event. What is there to say about the main event other than thank you? Thank you, Bianca Belair. No, thank you, Sasha Banks, for allowing Bianca to shine like that.
That was a really, really good match. And it's funny too, because the story, I feel, had been kind of like botched going in.
Yeah, because I kind of got lost in them trying to build a story the last like 2 weeks, and it was just like, just get me to the match.
But that moment that they were standing in the ring and you see the emotion
before the match even started,
when you see the emotion come over, it kind of like everything else went to the side. It's like, all right, this is cool.
And then Sasha just tried to calm it down. He was like, come on.
Yeah. For a second, I thought the match was going to go down, because you see Bianca Belair, she was like overcome with emotion, totally out of character. And then Sasha was basically, like you said, Sasha's a ring general. Yeah. Like, no question about it.
And for me, as much as I love Sasha, sometimes she has this she gets sloppy sometimes. I think she takes things for granted, and sometimes she oversells where it looks like she's hurting herself.
Okay.
But tonight, she did everything on point. All her bumps were clean. She sold everything the way it needed to be sold. She led Bianca through the match. Beautiful.
I love the finish. I love that hair whip.
Oh, the way that echoed.
Listen, obviously we've seen that move before.
Have you watched I think it's the 24 on Bianca?
Yes.
She explained that she actually figured that out by accident. She never thought about using her hair like that before.
I've learned a lot of things in wrestling. The best stuff comes by accident.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously, she's used that move a million times. That was the best one ever, because just the way it sounded.
Yeah.
And what a time to hit the best one you've ever done.
Yeah. And it's legal because it's a part of her body.
Right.
It's not a foreign object.
That's what I really, I liked the story they told using it, because if you've seen throughout the whole match, Sasha was stopping that. like at different various points.
Yeah, she kept trying to like pull her with her hair and whatnot. Yep.
And you know what? And then finally came back to bite her in the ass.
Yep. So I gave that match a 3.75.
That's fair. I'd even go 4.
Because there was nothing wrong with it. I just felt like it was missing something to put it in the conversation with, you know, some of the greatest matches ever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Because the emotion was there, the ring again, the ring work. There was nothing wrong with it. There's just something. I don't even know what to say. What's wrong? There's just something missing.
I mean, I think this match will be talked about for a long time, just because of the historical parameters around it. You had 2 black women main eventing WrestleMania. Like who? You know what I mean? Like that's a pretty historic thing.
Yeah.
That's obviously never happened before. So, and they delivered, which is the most important part. They were put in a position and they succeeded.
But for me, in the pantheon of like greatest women's matches, I'm still taking Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell. I'm still taking Sasha Bailey, Hell in a Cell. I'm taking Sasha, Becky, Charlotte at WrestleMania. I'm taking Asuka, Charlotte at WrestleMania. I'm taking Charlotte, Rhea at WrestleMania over this match.
I agree, and you mentioned something that made me laugh. You mentioned the Hell in the Cell match between Sasha and Charlotte.
Yeah.
And a little bit of a tidbit that probably nobody will care about, but a couple of my friends were actually the ones that carried Charlotte to the...
Oh, on the throne?
Right.
Yeah.
And then another buddy of mine was one of the Sasha Banks's, like the security that came out of the truck. And I was thinking, like, I remember when I seen that, I was like, oh, they're going to be part of history. Good for them.
Nice.
But yeah, I thought the match was...
Yeah, it's really, really good, but to me, it's just a notch below those matches.
I mean, I can't argue with you because, like, how can you? And because if you look back, like, I'm always gonna be very fond of Sasha and Bailey. I think that might be my off the top of my head, my favorite women's match of all time.
You talking Takeover?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that also goes in that list.
That match to me was probably one of the first WWE matches that was like women. That were put in that big of a position to succeed. I mean, how many before?
I mean, I'll even go back to AJ Lee and Paige.
Yeah, that was historic though. But was that really? That wasn't.
I mean, that was on Raw, and I mean the rematch was on what was the
pay-per-view,
Extreme Rules?
Something like no, because I think AJ left after that.
No,
because Tamina. Extreme Rules was Tamina and Paige, I think.
Was it?
And then,
I thought AJ won it back, and then Paige won it back the next month. I thought it was like a quick back and forth.
Quick. I remember AJ Lee came back. I want to say like July and won it.
Oh, that's what it was.
And because they had a little summer program. With Paige and her at SummerSlam and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, all right. But again, even the match that they had on Raw, that was like when is the last time we've seen a women's match that good? Because, I mean, Beth Phoenix was still around at the time, but she wasn't being used that much. Caitlyn was still around, but she wasn't being used.
I think some of these women, like Beth Phoenix, even Trish, will never, unfortunately for them, because they didn't have anybody to really work with. Like today, these women have a lot of talent.
Yeah, because in that period of time, like there were plenty of women in 2005 through 2013 that were talented, but it was always like 2 or 3 of them at a time.
Right.
There was never 8, 10 of them at a time that could have all these different programs going on.
Exactly. So that's why that's exactly it. You said it. I can't say it any better than that.
All right, night 2. The opening where you had Hulk and Titus on stage. Did you notice the crowd booing and cheering as they spoke?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That popped me. That popped me so hard.
That was, I mean, to be expected. Hulk Hogan is not looked at fondly. Probably never will be again.
The internet is undefeated. So he'll be like this for the rest of eternity.
I mean, he said some really bad things.
Yeah.
I don't blame anybody because he said some horrible things.
Hey.
Yeah.
But it was not as horrible as... No, I'm sorry. Was it as horrible? I don't know. This first match was horrible.
I'll just say it was not great. I enjoyed the entrance.
Yeah, and that was all I enjoyed.
100%.
Because they wrestled for about 90 seconds, and then Alexa started bleeding black blood.
Where are they going? Because there is going to be no Bray Wyatt Alexa payoff, right?
Because now on Raw, they broke up.
Yeah, But wouldn't it have been cool? Now, mind you, Karrion Kross loses. And then that's the spot hit. Like Scarlett comes up out of the thing. You know what I mean? How cool would that have been? And you could have had like some mixed tag matches going down the line or something.
But apparently they're not letting Scarlett wrestle in NXT. I don't know.
But like, yeah. But where is Alexa Bliss and the Fiend going? Like,
I don't know. They've doomed the Fiend from the start.
I think we're going down the road of more bad cinematic stuff with these two, and I am
just remember they doomed the Fiend from the start with that double DQ in Hell in a Cell, a match with no rules. How do you have a double DQ, no squad, whatever they?
No contest.
Yes. How do you have a no contest in a match with no rules?
They find a way to really screw up
because they painted themselves into a corner. Because Seth Rollins was having a lackluster title run, so they gave the belt back to Brock with that Money in the Bank. Then they had Seth beat him the month later, and then literally the next month, Hell in a Cell, you're gonna have him lose again to the Fiend.
They put themselves, and I remember when this happened. I remember telling my buddy they put themselves in a really bad corner. Because why would you take it off Seth as soon as that? But why would you have the Fiend lose? So you really put yourself in a bad situation.
They shouldn't have had that match.
No, remember, wrestling is scripted. You could have not scripted that.
Yeah.
And you could have went anywhere else.
I guess the Fiend was just so big. It was like, oh, let's put the title on him.
Well, they wanted to strike while the iron was hot. But, unfortunately, that match.
You ended up ruining both people.
Right. The only good thing that came out of it was I liked that story of like how the Fiend ruins people. So like Balor, Seth,
Darren Bryan,
right?
Because then we got the environmentalist savior out of it. That was what I didn't think Dan Bryan could do that. Well, actually, I didn't see him doing a heel run.
The environmental thing was before the Fiend.
Was it?
Yes, because remember the Fiend came in the summer of it was around when Kofi was the champion. That's when the Fiend came. Kofi beat Bryan for the belt.
Oh yeah, you're right. I do have that backwards. Okay. All right, we already covered the women's title match basically. Yeah, Shayna and Nia won again. Yeah. Don't really know why.
I will say about that match, that was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. You said that about the turmoil. I'll say that about this match. It was. I actually got invested and wanted to see Tamina win the belt, and I am not a Tamina fan.
Although the finish was Natalya put Nia Jax in a sharpshooter, and then was it Shayna came in and choked out Nia because she was actually a legal person?
She choked out Natty.
Yeah, Natty, because she was actually a legal person. So that was a really creative finish. But again, the match was just next up, we had Kevin Steen and El Generico. Another Ring of Honor match.
I thought, again, another Ring of Honor match. That's the style that they used to work.
This was not their best match between the two of them, although it was a great match. I still think the first match they had between each other on a pay-per-view was their best one.
The Payback one? Is that the one that did a Payback?
Yes.
Battleground. One of those two.
Yeah, it was one of those C-level pay-per-views.
I think I remember that. That was...
To me, that was still the best match that they've had between the two of them.
Sammy won that one, right? Is that the one Sammy won?
No. Owens won the first one because it was a title match.
Oh, that was an NXT, you mean?
No. It was an IC title match that they had. Because remember at the time, Sami Zayn had never won a title. We were like, when is Sami finally going to win a main roster title?
Man, no, I'm drawing a blank on that one. I think I remember the first time I thought it was that Battleground match, but you might be right because I know Owens was the Intercontinental Champion around that time.
Yeah, but regardless, solid match, no complaints. It almost felt like it was like a best of match where they did all their best moves.
But with the amount of time they were given, that's kind of, it seemed like if they were given like 20 minutes going in and then like they got a bunch of it cut and they just cut right to where they would have been in that point and just went balls to the wall. Mm-hmm. I thought it was good. And
we stunned Logan Paul after the match. I still don't know why he was there other than just to get stunned.
No other way to end that. He had to do that. That was the point of him being there, for Kevin Owens to give him a stunner.
Yeah. We had a backstage segment with Riddle and RVD for all the stoners. And RVD gave him some rolling papers.
Yeah, RVD rolling.
Yep. So Riddle and Sheamus, nothing really to write home about other than the finish. Riddle went to do the springboard moonsault and got bro kicked while upside down.
I didn't care about this match going in, but they did a really good job. They kicked the shit out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really actually enjoyed it more than I ever thought I would. Because again, what was the story going in? He knocked him off his scooter a couple times. Okay.
Yeah, basically.
But the match delivered. They kicked the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Then we had our Nigerian drum fight. Come to find out, a Nigerian drum fight is just a hardcore match with drums and gongs around the ring, which they did not even use. No, they didn't use the drums. I think Biggie threw Apollo into one of the gongs, and that was it.
Yeah, but you know what? It was like 6.5 minutes, but it was solid. And again, another match that they just kicked the shit out of each other.
Yes, because I did not. They started out really fast with the weapons. I was expecting a little wrestling before the weapons, but once they started actually wrestling, it was decent. It was really good.
Well, they were probably given 10 minutes, and then the entrances alone.
Yeah.
They Dabo Kato. How about the debut of Dabo?
Oh, well, not debut. He was on Raw Underground, but
re-debut.
Yeah. Did you catch? They were in front of the commentary tables. I think they were doing the spot with the stairs, and Biggie yelled, "This is what you wanted, Craig."
I did not.
You didn't catch that?
No, I wish I would have.
You got to go back and watch that.
I will.
I popped for that because it's Debo from Friday.
That's hysterical.
This is what you wanted, Craig.
That's hysterical. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. So I was fully expecting Biggie to win. So obviously the re-debut of Dabo Kato and helping Apollo to win was a shock.
I'm kind of glad they went with Apollo though, because if not, Biggie beat him 97 times. Like,
yeah, well, see, I'm on the team of this is a gimmick to bury Apollo because I'm not a fan of it.
You really think so? I think that they finally gave him something. I'm willing to bet my life that he had something to do with this gimmick.
I agree, but I feel like they was like, oh, this is like silly enough where he can bury himself with it and we can just be done with him.
I don't know, because I feel like this is more personality than he's ever shown. And did you ever follow him on the Indies when he was UA Nation?
Nah.
That was his thing on the Indies, like UA Nation. Like that was
okay.
It wasn't as bedazzled as he is now, obviously.
Right.
But it was essentially the idea. So I mean, I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Okay. All right. The women's Raw women's Raw Championship. Asuka, Rhea Ripley. Good match, but felt like a style clash.
There was also no real story going in.
Yeah, because Charlotte was pregnant, so they just had to throw somebody into the match.
Yeah, the story was...
And even when it was Charlotte, they just suddenly threw Charlotte into the match because she suddenly wasn't having the match with Lacey Evans.
Yeah, the story wasn't... I think these two could do a lot better. I think they will do a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I think, when there's a proper story and not some rushed to build, they could do a really good job.
Basically, the story of the match was Asuka hits hard, Rhea hits even harder.
Right, and then also you got to take into account, by the time that they went on, it was the second night of a long event, and ideally the match that most people probably were there to see was going on next. So they probably just wanted to get through this.
Yeah. And, I never mentioned Bayley. Bayley was getting jobbed out by everybody in all the backstage segments.
Yeah, but I was expecting something else, and that's not what we got.
No.
The payoff was not.
However, the John Cena line to Nikki Bella did it for me. She got that in.
But the payoff with the Bellas just was not. I don't think that's what anybody wanted.
No.
Who was clamoring for a Bella Twins comeback?
Nobody.
Not one person.
Nobody.
Earth, except for maybe them.
The internet is shitting on them now for saying they want to come back at the end of the year.
Yeah. For what? What are they gonna do? I mean, listen.
Win the tag titles.
You know what though? You laugh, but that probably is a route they're gonna go.
Yeah, because it is the Bellas, they'll let them do it. All right, so as we said, main event: Daniel Bryan, Edge, Roman Reigns, triple threat, Universal Championship. And Jey Uso gets involved almost immediately.
As he should.
As he should, yes. But then we had an injury spot with Jey Uso. He gets taken off on a stretcher.
That's a good way to get him out of there.
So in my head, I was like, Roman's going to get more help. I thought it was going to be Jimmy.
So did I. I thought.
I'm like, oh, Jimmy's coming back now.
I thought for sure that they were going to bring him back tonight as a, just like you said, like I thought, Jay would get taken out.
I was like, yeah, okay, you wrote off Jay, fine. So instead of him being come back from the injury spot, bring Jimmy in. It's like, but hey, they brought Jay back in from the injury spot, whatever.
I got to be honest, I'm glad they didn't because I'm glad Roman got that dominant win.
Yep. He basically Jay showed up to counter the concerto and spear, concerto, stack him up, pin him.
And basically now I think you have to go Daniel Bryan Edge just based on how.
Yeah, based on the way that ended. Yes.
I like when Edge had him in the Roman in the crossface. Bryan comes in, you have Edge look at him, and say, "Get off of him! What are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, Bryan pulls the referee out, cost him the match twice, and that's going to be how they splinter off, I believe, into their own program and Roman with whoever he's going to be with.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, we're having, as I said, Roman versus Cesaro tonight.
Oh, that's
non-title.
No, so Cesaro's got to get the win, I think.
At
least by DQ.
Okay, yeah, maybe DQ because Roman has not lost the match since he's won the title.
So now imagine non-title though. This could be a good way to make Cesaro.
Mm-hmm.
Put him over as a real legitimate threat by having him beat Roman. I mean, I don't know if I would do that either, just because I'm a fan of where they're going with the Roman character and keeping him dominant for hopefully the eventual Big E win.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, you can't. I guess you can't sustain that for a year, so you might as well. If he's going to lose, do it in a non-title match.
And before we get out of here, let's go over the yearly budget cuts.
Oh, yeah.
So if you didn't even notice, AEW also got in on the deal. They cut Ivelisse.
Not surprised by that whatsoever.
So that was their cut. WWE released Bo Dallas, Chelsea Green, Kalisto, Samoa Joe, Mickie James, Tucker, and one of the guys from the Forgotten Sons, I never remember his name.
Wesley Blake.
There you go. And the IICONICS.
I was surprised about them.
Yeah.
Them and Joe were the only ones that I could see. I was like,
Well, come to find out, Joe wanted to go.
Is that what happened?
Joe wanted to go. Did you see his conversation with CM Punk on Twitter?
I just seen the fuck yo couch.
Yeah, Joe wanted to go.
I've been looking to see. I didn't see that yet. All right.
Yeah, Joe wanted to go, so.
Not surprised they probably didn't want him to wrestle because he was doing really good on commentary.
They just wouldn't clear him after his concussions from a couple years ago.
They're not going to clear people. Like anybody that has any kind of history, it's going to be a long process to get back.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him. If he wanted to go, good for him.
And freaking whatchamacallit, the producer, on-screen producer for Impact,
D'Amore?
Yeah, Scott D'Amore. He already put out a little, say, Joe, you know what happens in 90 days? Slammiversary. Slammiversary is in like 98 days.
I don't want him to go to TNA again, though. I don't know how many more people AEW could fit though, so he might not even go there.
He'd probably be the whole budget.
Well, even just like how many people they already got, and they got 2 hours a week of primetime TV. Everything else is on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, the IICONICS, you broke them up to give Peyton Royce a push that never came, and you stuck her back in another tag team with Lacey Evans. And Billie Kay, who wasn't supposed to get the push, was actually doing pretty damn good as a single with the whole resume gimmick. And then, bye?
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. They weren't doing anything with them at this point anyway. Might as well just let them go out and be stars somewhere else.
I guess. I saw somebody posted a meme of Billie Kay giving her resume to the Dark Order.
That's funny. That's good. That's pretty funny. That would fit right with what they're doing.
Yeah. It would fit. I get it. I think that covers everything for tonight. Let me double check my notes here. Yeah, that covers everything. Oh, well, one last thing about WrestleMania. I did some math. I added up my stars from both nights. Night one, my average score was a 2.8, and night two average score was a 3.1.
Guess you enjoyed night two more.
I find it hard to believe. I think because the Fiend and Randy was so low, it screwed up my averages.
I think night one just, like I said, I think just night one had the better vibe.
Yeah, mentally, I've loved night one better, but I guess
also like Saturday night wrestling more than Sunday night wrestling.
I would agree too. Yeah, because Sunday night wrestling is kind of a chore because then you got to get up for work on Monday.
Exactly. And Saturday night, I was able to just go home and like not have to be like, oh, I gotta go to sleep. I was able to like watch like videos of like home invasions.
Although the shorter, 3.5 hour is better than the 7 hours straight. It's a little more manageable.
150%. I think either they need to cut down WrestleMania or they need to do what they did this year and put nights. But again, you're gonna be in Dallas next year. You're not gonna be able to put 100,000 people 2 nights in a row.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of here. I have been Darth Messiah, the Dark Side Savior, always and forever on his worst behavior. Alex didn't make it tonight due to technical difficulties. And Superstar Style, thank you for stopping in, sir. Pleasure having you. We out of here.